Hello, hello. I'm the official weatherman. As you can see, today it's going to be kind of warm, but it's also going to get like kind of wet at the end of the day. The wind, it going kind of fast. Tomorrow looking kind of fucked up though, so like maybe stay inside. Just an idea. Like look at this shit. Do you want all of these problems? Of course you don't. Now, while on the subject of the weather, let's switch to our actual job, which is writing the nicknames of the tornado Pokemon, Tornadus, where we go through the first page of Google and like read things and talk about nicknames and stuff. Cause this is a Pokemon, man. This is a tornado. I coincidentally happen to be living in a situation where they're like, yeah, there's probably gonna be a tornado like today or tomorrow, so cool. Oh, I like this and I hate this at the same time because see that's just it. Here's where things get complicated for me is when video games will use the names of actual gods for their characters. So when I see Fujin, I don't think Shinto region's god of wind. I think Mortal Kombat. Same goes with Raiden. Raiden? Fuck off, I don't care. And then there was something else. I think Amaterasu was technically supposed to be the actual name of a god. Didn't know that either. I just think Okami. So I like Fujin for the sake of Mortal Kombat, but I mean, unless you know this like guy who's appeared in 3 games and hasn't received all that much love, you might not get it. But I like the idea of it. I like Fujin. Fujin pretty rad, man. Alright, so I'm interested in this, but I'm interested in this for like the wrong reasons. So, because they're going over all 3 of these at the same time, we gotta come back to this and try and make sure, but I try and focus specifically on the Tornadus ones. So like Slipstream sounds nice, that's different. Also Jetstream, relevant. But then like right below, he's like Cloudjin from Yoshi's Story, and I'm like, oh, but I really like that one. Like I really like that one. Do I think that it would fit Thunderous better than Tornadus? I don't know. Like the thing with Cloudjin is he breathes the fire. So I mean, technically none of them, but I really like that idea. I want to use that, but I don't nickname legendaries. Okay, let's talk about some bad nicknames. So, Twister. I actually don't hate just because I can read it in that voice and it just sounds like someone being stupid. So, would I use it as a nickname for a Pokemon? No. But out of all the things I hate, I mean, this one I can ignore. Mr. Storm is fucking stupid, and Father Storm is fucking stupid. Firstly, I don't know why we're saying, hey, it looks like this guy. I'm like, you know what you could have done to make that nickname a tiny bit better? If you just put an E in there, and it could be Feather Storm. Would that fit the character limit? Probably not. And then Super Wind, which is also a bad name. Speaking of bad nicknames, welcome to Hayden on Twitter. Whatever 8-bit Insomniac came up with is a genius? I don't know. I don't see it. It doesn't exist. I'm sure it probably wasn't good at all, though. And then going down to something that's like, we're going to say passable, because we see avatar-based nicknames from time to time. And I don't know. Like, it feels weird to be like, oh, Katara, that's fine, or Azula, that's fine. But something about Aang's name, to me, just doesn't strike nearly as much. That's just my personal opinion. But yeah, you could use it too. It's the only pure flying type. You know what you should do instead? This might be a little bit harder. Is if you could find a pair of 3 Pokemon, right? And then have 1 fire, 1 water, and then 1 flying, and then you could do it like that, and then you could theme it like that. And then you could have like Airbender, Firebender, Waterbender. But I feel like that's a hard thing to do because you're not going to see that in like the starters, because that's fire, water, grass, or the legendaries. You're gonna really have to look for something like that. So it's gonna be hard to do, but you could do that. I'm gonna acknowledge Katrina just because I know this might be an actual discussion point. So, firstly, what was it? Hurricane, different. Anyway, I could understand if someone would want to try and take that route to be like, oh, let's name it after an actual tornado hurricane. I get that. I could understand that. And Katrina's certainly one of the most famous, at least in the US, so I think that would work too. But at the end of the day, it still is just the name of any other person on the planet. So I like the concept, but I think it would be a lot better if they gave the tornadoes, hurricanes just better names instead of baby names. We can talk about Big Bird, because Big Bird is we're just going to call it generic flying type nickname that I like, and I think you could put onto a few. But also, and here comes down to, what's your opinion of a big bird? Because Tornadus, especially in bird form, is actually only 4'7", or about a meter. So that's not very big, but I mean, compared to a human, that's still a pretty big bird. So that just comes down to your opinion. Do you think a bird of that size is big? Because if I saw a bird that size, I would not be happy. But there are bigger birds, so it's up to you. Also on the subject, bird brain. There's a different one for you. And because I didn't say at the beginning of the video, and I meant to, I will take a look and see if the search result's different by typing in a form, but I don't expect it to change. Alright, now that I can stop reading this and, you know, delete all this cringe from my brain, let's end with Falco. Just because on the subject of Falco, we're going to come up with other birds in my mind. When reading Falco, I thought Rivali. And I know we've seen Rivali in the past, I think it was back in Kanto. And that's fine for bird-based nickname. Falco is too, but I don't know. I think Rivali is a better name, personally. Because it's not the name of an animal without a single letter. Okay, so we'll highlight Vati, just because I remember looking this up, and I remember this being in a previous episode. Don't remember who it was. Probably Dusk Noir, if I had to guess. Just because based off this, I don't think that's going to fit Tornadus at all. But I guess for whatever reason, if you think it does, cool, good for you. And then I don't World of Warcraft at all, so none of this means anything to me. But if you care, sure. We don't typically see World of Warcraft stuff. Or if we do, I just don't know about it because I don't World of Warcraft. Also, you guys let me down. I told you to remind me to save this page, and you didn't remind me. That's it. I'm hitting the bookmark bucket. We'll go over this, I guess. Nimbus is fine. Zephyr's fine. And that's kind of it, really. The rest, yeah. And I feel like if you wanted to be bigger of a nerd, rather than just Nimbus, you could do Nimbus 2000. But Nimbus by itself is a type of cloud. Okay, we've reached the bottom. We've looked at some stuff. We're going to type in their in form if seeing that changes anything, but I severely doubt it. Okay, the answer is technically it did change 2 results, but they both wielded nothing, so we're just going to leave it there. Spreadsheet's empty, but we do have comment suggestions. In my opinion, I think we got some suggestions that were better than Google, because I feel like there was a lot of obvious marks missed. So firstly, thank you to Chaotic. I actually meant to write this down too, but I didn't get to it in time, and he reminded me. Zephos and Cyclos from Wind Waker. They were the little frogs on the clouds, and I've played Wind Waker, but I don't remember it super vividly. Like, I rented it, and I got basically about halfway through the game, and I didn't realize you were supposed to shoot one of them with a bow and arrow, so that was about as far as I got. And then I bought the game and beat it, and that's pretty much been it. So I don't remember which one's which, but he says Zephos for Tornadus, so I'm just going to assume that's probably the correct one, but I don't know, just the name Cyclos sounds like it should fit better. I could be wrong. I also didn't go over the ones that we saw that were good. Fujin, because I like Mortal Kombat, but that's also kind of low because it's just the name of some Japanese god. And then Cloudjin, which I really, really like. Like, I kind of wish and I know it's funny because when it comes down to it, the forces of nature and the genies, they can be argued as very lazy designs because they're just color swaps. But yet I like them better than I like the Musketeers, despite the fact that the Musketeers all have original designs. So it's kind of weird how that works. But I wish that the forces of nature weren't legendaries, because I feel like there's some cool nicknames you could give it, and Cloudjin is 100% one I would use. Another one that I would 100% use, which could be applicable to any of the forces of nature if you want, and I'm kind of surprised we didn't see it, Lakitu from Mario. This should be insanely obvious, but it's cool. So, just a couple ideas for you. I don't nickname legendaries, so I can't use any of these nicknames, and I don't think we're ever going to have another Pokemon that'll probably... I mean, Cloudjin I could probably put somewhere else. It's just not going to... Like, I mean, I guess Altaria's cloud-based, but I mean... You're definitely not going to have anything else with that genie thing going on, so... Anyways, any other ideas and suggestions you have, feel free to put in the comments below. Give a thumbs up to the ones you think are good. Tip your waitresses. Don't walk out in tornadoes. This isn't Kansas anymore.